What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, rocking the hat and glasses once again. Uh, yeah, part of the reason why I am doing that is because a lot of people have started somewhere, started pretty good, then they kind of went downhill, and then they rise back up and become as big as they possibly can. Hell, maybe some of them could even become main eventers. One of those guys would be the chosen one, Drew McIntyre. Yes, Drew McIntyre has just done an amazing job uh, this past year alone. Honestly, he's been the best part, before Roman Reigns came back. Drew McIntyre has been carrying the company just on his back the best way he could. But one of those things that I want to say is I think it's safe to say that Drew McIntyre is gonna go down as one of the last good babyface champions for a while. I think we could all agree we're not gonna have a good WWE champion babyface in a while, because part of the way that a babyface champion works, that both sides have to be in it. Like we have to see, you know, someone. Drew McIntyre is probably the first guy in a while that both the WWE, the corporation, and the fans love equally. Like I remember when he won the Royal Rumble, Vince was excited, we were excited, everybody was excited, and it didn't feel forced down our throat. It really was a story of a guy who started off spoiled, giving everything he could, and then he got egotistical, ruined his own push, got fired, had to come back, rejuvenate himself, and become the star he is today. Drew McIntyre is that. I will admit, when he came back in NXT, I was excited, but I was like, honestly, I feel like Drew McIntyre is a little too good for NXT. He could be on Raw and SmackDown, and he should be fine. I'm a little glad that we kept him in NXT just so we could get a tease as to what we're to expect. But this is one of those guys who did. Honestly, this is one of the few guys who did great in NXT and then way better on the main roster. It's rare to do that, and I'm pretty sure that Drew and Vince have had like an eye for each other. They've been friends for a while. I mean, clearly Vince had like called him the chosen one, and that went flat. I mean, after his past fights with freaking his wife Tiffany, he got arrested, he got fired. He had to be part of 3MB, which honestly was like what showed us that Drew McIntyre had a character for a change. So kudos for that. But I remember like when he came back, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be cool because his work as Drew Galloway in Impact Wrestling was actually not that bad. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good to say the least. He had good matches with with Kurt Angle. He had good matches with himself. But yeah, he had good matches with Kurt Angle, EC3, Matt Hardy, Bobby Lashley, of all people. So I was excited for this new Drew McIntyre. I was afraid that they were just not gonna do him right, but they did a fantastic job with him. Him paired with Dolph Ziggler was honestly something that felt random at first, but then it led to him being the top star. So I'm glad that this guy is going his way. Now, part of the reason why I'm making this video is because I do not want to see Drew McIntyre back down the mid card division. I fucking hate when they do this. I hate when they have a top guy as the WWE champion or one of the top champions. He loses that and then he goes back to catering and he's either a jobber, a mid carder, or a little bit in between of both. Let's look at the past champions. Kofi Kingston, he went from WWE champion to just another person in the tag team division. I'm like, he just stepped back down. Like, he never tried to redeem his WWE championship. Daniel Bryan is kind of a back and forth guy. He's from WWE champion to mid carder to tag team division, and they just kind of go all over the place with the guy. The Miz, He's the WWE champion. Now he's in the mid card division. He's hell. At one point, he was a jobber. So my biggest concern for Drew McIntyre is that once he lost the belt, he was gonna go for the United States Championship or the fucking um, tag team division. He's gonna team up with somebody and then he's gonna go for the tag belts. I do not want that for Drew McIntyre. We need to have more confidence on these guys. You put him on the top for a reason. He should be at the top. He say what you will about the guy. He main evented WrestleMania 36 with Brock Lesnar, and he beat him in less than 5 minutes. So I think that should tell you that Drew McIntyre is a guy who needs to stick around longer than he should. I think hopefully they actually listen for once and they actually put this guy on the top because that's where he belongs. Like, I mean, imagine if Stone Cold Steve Austin, he went from beating Shawn Michaels in one of the biggest moments of his entire career, losing that belt, and then he goes on to feud with Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental Championship. That would be not a step up. That would be a step down. It's a difference with John Cena when he was WWE champion. He was at the top time after time after time, and then they gave him Rusev, won the U.S. belt. He was still like part of the. He was just helping make that belt relevant once again. But at the end of the day, John Cena was still gonna go back to the top. It was just like a little break in between. Chris Jericho is one of those people that could make it work. The Miz, Daniel Bryan, or other people you could say could do that, but they're kind of like half-assing. Like AJ Styles has honestly not been the same ever since he lost the WWE Championship. He really hasn't. Like even in 2017, he went from losing to John Cena to the U.S. belt, and people were just saying, "No, AJ needs to be at the top." Unfortunately, we don't have a crowd to be telling Drew McIntyre, tell the fans like we want Drew McIntyre still at the top. Hopefully they listen. Hopefully Drew McIntyre needs to stay at the top because it'll just be a pointless rerun of just like constantly just having guys at the top and then losing. Like, can you stop? I just want consistency um with these guys. Like, I did not want Drew McIntyre to hold the belt for um 3 years, but I wanted him to still be at the top. Honestly, his reign overall has been pretty good. He had a cool moment with Brock Lesnar, a lame match with Big Show, a good match with Seth Rollins. Fought Bobby Lashley twice, and it was good. I didn't like his stuff with Dolph Ziggler. I would have done Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules once again, and then we do Randy Orton. Like, keep the momentum going because Dolph Ziggler, no offense, this guy will never be WWE champion ever. But yeah, and his feud with Randy Orton, he did say something about how like why I'm at the top and you're not, and that's because you are not a leader, Randy Orton. You are just a guy who just wants everything for himself, while I try my best to do the best. Like, I was given Dolph Ziggler, and I did the best I could with him. I did the best with Bobby Lashley. I even did the best with Big Show and Brock Lesnar. So Drew McIntyre is clearly meant for the WWE. I think we could all agree that Drew McIntyre is a WWE guy. But this WWE guy is a guy that we all like. Drew McIntyre is considered to be or one of, if not the future of the WWE. Like, it's like if you think about some of the top guys we have now that are not part timers and that we are hopefully going to see years to come, it's Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre right there with them. Seth Rollins is kind of like in between. I mean, he's a fantastic heel. He's doing the best work. Even though his feud with Rey Mysterio has overstated its welcome, he's still doing a pretty good job as a heel. Roman Reigns, he's kind of been built to be the top guy, and I'm pretty sure what this is gonna lead to Rock and Reigns, which that's a individual video for himself. But I just want to see Drew McIntyre still try to go for the top belts. Like, I don't want him to go back to catering. I do not want him to go for the mid card belts. I want him to stay at the top where he belongs and not drop the ball. Like, with this guy. Please, WWE, do not make Drew McIntyre less than he is, because we all know he's got the look, he's got the charisma, he is fantastic on the mic. Keep him at the top.